Alright everybody, recording another video next to my closet because that's what all the cool kids are doing, and my squeaky chair. I apologize. I'll try to not move that much, which is hard being who I am. So tonight I'm going to take some time to review Jennette McCurdy's very popular, successful new release, and it's an autobiography. Jennette McCurdy's I Am Glad My Mom Died. And I know everyone's kind of like the title. It's just one of those things that's gonna get a knee-jerk reaction from people because it's so in your face. It seems irreverent. It seems like, oh my gosh, you can't talk about your mother like that. And Jennette did it. She said it all in this book. And of course, those of us who are getting it, we know who she is. But for those who may be like, who is this person who's getting all these accolades and all this attention for this book? And Jennette McCurdy was an actress who starred on a couple of Nickelodeon programs that were very successful, to be iCarly and Sam and Cat, and she did some work outside of that as well, but she's been starring in things since she was like young, like 6-7 years old, very young. And she never wanted to be an actress. It was her mom who pushed her into it, and her book chronicles that very well. And I read it. It's been one of the first times in a long time that I have read a book in like 3 days. I was reading it at work, walking around. I was reading it in my bed late at night. I was having a marathon with it. Like most of the time I read like multiple books at one time, and I can put one down, it goes under my bed. I'm like, oh yeah, I was reading this. And this is one of those books I would wake up and be in the bathroom, like reading it on the commode, you know, just like, okay, I got to get back into this. And so I was very impressed with her style. Her voice is very distinctive, and she's got that dry humor, very sardonic, and she can go from being really deep and very exploratory, and you just feel her heart so much, to being whimsical and just kind of like blue, not really blue. It's kind of a good mix of sarcastic, dry, and really eloquent writing that pulls you in from the jump. Like, and she creates the voice. Her voice as she's going through this, it's from childhood on to I think about 25 or 26 years of age, and she takes you along, and the voice feels appropriate in every chapter as she matriculates through life and the acting world. And I have some quotes here, and spoiler alert, this is a moment where you can draw away, but from speaking to myself, I haven't gotten too deeply into this. Jennette's story, the reason I liked it, and I give her book so many stars and high marks, is because I related to it so much. I grew up in a religious home, an extremely religious home. I grew up in a controlling home, and I grew up with narcissistic influences from caregivers. I never knew that someone could be a narcissist who was not like into their appearance and ego, even though I was aware that the clinical term is different than the term we use in society. Say, oh my gosh, you're such a narcissist or egotistical, versus a person who has a diagnostic of narcissistic personality disorder. And a lot of what I experienced growing up was that the people who were taking care of me had a strong preoccupation with self. And the way I kind of describe it is, these are not people who are very full of themselves. They think they're God's gift to humanity. It's quite the opposite, and they're using you as their supply and their source, and they're using you to fill this gaping chasm in their own life and their own personhood, that they're using you, and your needs are not important, they're not valuable, they're not taken into consideration. And these people can be emotionally volatile, may have poor emotional regulation, they know how to manipulate situations to get what they need. And that is what I grew up with. That is what Jennette grew up with her mother. And it's just some of these quotes. So getting into the spoiler part of this, and I have the quotes on my little computer here. Purpose, here's the quote. My life purpose has always been to make mom happy, to be who she wants me to be. So I don't want to say the next part because it's a bit of a spoiler, but getting into these quotes, I'm just going to kind of go through and read some of them to what I was saying. I know all of mom's expressions well. I have learned them inside and out so that I can behave accordingly at all times. Mom is grateful, happy when she feels seen, valued, and nurtured. I just let, okay, here's another quote. I know better than to ask certain types of questions, the ones that go too deep into specifics. Instead, I just let mom offer up the information she wants to offer up while I listen closely and try to take it exactly the way she wants me to, this is her mom, referring to her mom. I want her calm. I want her steady. I want her happy. Just as she can set my body on edge and make me rigid with fear or anxiety, she can also calm me down. She has that kind of power. I wish she'd use it this way more often. Of course, a little girl should worry about her entire family. That's what little girls do. No, it's not, but that's what her family, and that's what the dynamic with her mom caused her to believe. I tried desperately to understand and know my mother, what made her sad, what made her happy, and on and on and on, at the expense of ever really knowing myself. Here's one of the best quotes. Two of these. Okay, we'll go into it. I'm desperate to feel close with her, but also desperate for the closeness to be on my terms, not hers. I want her to know me for who I'm becoming. I want her to allow my growth. I want her to want me to be me. And this other one, my body is programmed to mom on demand. So rich in some of these, the way she illustrates things. And another point to how her life was, supporting her family financially, being an actress as a young girl. Life's a serious thing. There's a lot going on in this place. Being prepared and working hard and doing well are far more important than fun. So those are just some of the quotes, and I feel like this resonates for people who grew up in homes with, again, dysfunctional caregivers, or people who in dysfunctional and toxic family systems where one person, and I've seen and listened to so many videos, I've been in counseling for this, and Jennette, I'm not going to say anything else, I'm not going to ruin it, but Jennette does work on herself throughout this time, and it's amazing to me, and her bravery, first of all, for coming out with this story and choosing the title like she did and said, no, we're going to go with that. That's how I feel. And she meant that. And what she went through, it's amazing that she is stepping up, that she put this out there for the world, and she was not ashamed. She sits down confidently in interviews and discusses this. And I feel like this is like a champion moment for people who have survived these types of toxic homes with emotionally immature, volatile, narcissistic caregivers who really aren't caregivers. They're actually soul suckers. They are people who siphon away life from you, and they think that they deserve it, that you were born for them. There are a lot of parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever's got the commission to take care of a child or a ward in this country, in this world, who feel like they have the right to your life because they care for you, or because they gave birth to you, or because they adopted you, that you were born to make them happy. You were born to fulfill something that God gave me, or whomever, or whatever they say, that you were my gift. You're my little gift. Now make mommy happy, do that dance. I'm not saying this is always how it is, but don't hang out with that. Don't date that boy. Don't go that place. Don't go to that college. Don't leave me. Don't do. And this whole book made me feel my childhood all over again. Like, was Jennette there? Was she there? Did she know? And kind of that relation, because it was that deep. It was that deep. Like, she controlled in this book friendships and where she went and what she ate and so much more. And that voice, even as Jennette was beginning to come out of some of these things, the voice persisted, that critic telling her she couldn't and she shouldn't, and what would her mom think? And same thing, exact same thing I experienced even at my age. Sometimes I'm doing things I think I'm not allowed to be happy. I'm not allowed to enjoy my solitude and alone time. I'm selfish because I'm not living for my caregivers or the people who supported me growing up. And that is a toxic way to be. And sometimes parents are so desperate, they're so emotionally stunted or blunted, whatever has happened to them that has caused them to believe that this young child who they're supposed to be raising to be strong and able to give back to society and care for themselves, they're doing just the opposite, teaching them the world is a dangerous place, not to be trusted. You can only trust me, and to keep them on the teat as long as possible. And really, it's not really giving milk. They're just forcing them to be close because they're afraid of being alone, or whatever it is. There's no real good justification for forcing a child to be parentified at a young age to fulfill desires inside of you that aren't being fulfilled, telling a young child, you're my best friend, and you're my everything, and you're all that I need. That's so crippling and stunting and confusing for a young mind. And we look to our caregivers when we're that age as for support and for guidance, and they're our first examples of so many things that we'll see represented in this world. And if that image is wrong, that can be the start of trauma and abuse and learning the wrong ways to relate and connect with people or not connect with people. If you see Jennette in interviews, her maturity seeps beyond 30 years, right? You just feel what she's gone through. It's heavy, it's aged her. And I feel like, with my laptop, I feel like that's not a bad thing per se. And again, when I was 12, when I was 18, when I was younger and in school and getting recognized by teachers and different things, they'd always say, oh my gosh, you're so mature for your age. And it's so strange, isn't she so much, this teacher's talking about me, she acts so much older. And I was forced to. I was forced to grow up fast to meet the needs of people double, triple my age, because that's what happened. And so for this book, if you want a good read, it's got humor, it's got things that are gonna make you like, oh my goodness, you're gonna feel moved, you're gonna feel maybe even encouraged at times, but it's just a really good read. I ate it in a couple days, and I would say she put her heart and soul into it, and she made a lot of us feel seen and heard. She's also showing the secrets of Hollywood. I didn't even get into that. What her mom did is obviously the title. It's a lot of the driving force of the book, but also how, some of us who have wanted to do acting for a little bit and tried modeling for a little bit, it can be dark. It can be very dark. It can be Holly weird. And there's a lot of things coming out about celebrities even recently where you're like, oh my gosh, they did that. They did that. And if you really want to go that route and get into Hollywood, read her book and see, especially if you have a child who's trying to get into it, you trying to get into it. I think these lessons and these things that she's talking about can be useful. So thank you for watching my little review or reaction video. That's what they're calling it now, reaction. You see a person in the little thumbnail, reaction video. Just for watching this, get the book. It's really good. And comment, subscribe, and thank you for joining me for this little quarter hour to tune in a little bit here. And I'm tired. I can't talk. English words. Thank you for joining me tonight, and talk to you soon. Je t'aime. Take care.